Picture this, a high-stakes Hollywood set, the air buzzing with tension as cameras roll and a crew of hard-working professionals give their all behind the scenes. Amidst the flashing lights and whispered conversations, one man stands tall, not as a movie star, but as a true leader. That man? None other than Keanu Reeves. And today, we're uncovering the powerful moment when he risked it all to stand up for his team. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments. Welcome to Motivation for Success, the channel where we bring you real stories of resilience, courage, and integrity that can shift your perspective and inspire action. If you believe in the power of standing up for what's right, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. These stories aren't just entertainment, they're lessons that can shape the way you live your life. Now, let's dive into this gripping tale of loyalty, justice, and the kind of leadership that money can't buy. It was one of those unexpectedly cool and breezy nights in Metro City, a sprawling urban center known for its dazzling skyscrapers, eclectic art scene, and a flair for the dramatic. The sidewalks glowed under neon lights, and people bustled about with that signature big city energy. Nestled right in the heart of the city was a centuries-old landmark, the Grand Meridian Hotel. This architectural marvel, replete with polished marble floors and grand chandeliers, had once hosted royalty, movie stars, and the elite. However, recent developments suggested a sea change was on the horizon. A week prior, the media had been buzzing about Keanu Reeves taking over the ownership of the Grand Meridian. While many big-name celebrities invest in real estate, something about this particular acquisition felt momentous. Rumors flew. Some claimed Keanu planned to convert parts of it into an art center, while others argued it would become a top-tier wellness retreat. Everyone whispered about the transformations that might come. Yet, no one anticipated the immediate shakeup that was about to occur. That evening, Keanu arrived at the hotel under the radar. Clad in a simple black jacket and a well-worn gray t-shirt, he moved quietly through the opulent lobby. His unassuming outfit contrasted sharply against the gold accents and glittering lights overhead. Despite his attempt at subtlety, the tension lurking in the air caught his attention. It was as if the usual hum of elegant conversation had been replaced by an undercurrent of unease. Walking down a long corridor, Keanu passed by the freshly polished portraits of the Grand Meridian's founders and paused near a closed door leading to the staff lounge. The polished brass sign on the door gleamed under the corridor lights, "Employees only." From inside, hushed voices carried a raw mix of emotion, part frustration, part determination. He could have walked on, respecting employees' privacy. But something about the fervor in those voices made him curious. Was there a crisis? He leaned closer, pressing an ear near the door's edge. The muffled conversation became clearer, and as he recognized the gravity of the words, he felt compelled to step in. Inside the staff lounge, a small group of employees had gathered. Their leader in this emotional moment was Harvey, a dedicated concierge known for his calm demeanor and his uncanny ability to anticipate guests' needs. Tonight, though, Harvey's usual composure was nowhere to be found. His cheeks burned with indignation, and his hands shook slightly as he gestured in frustration. "I just can't take it anymore," Harvey said, his voice trembling. "We've been dealing with a flurry of guests who think that because they have money or connections, they can talk down to us. When something goes wrong, a late check-in, a misplaced reservation, some of them react as if we're their personal punching bags. They make outrageous demands, insult us, and don't even offer a simple apology when the hotel fixes the issue." A chorus of agreement rippled through the room. "Elena, a front desk receptionist, yesterday, a guest literally threw a pen at me because I couldn't check him in early enough. Said I was useless for not bending the rules. I tried to stay professional, but I felt so belittled. Jonas, the bellhop, had a family check-in last week who insisted I carry all 20 bags in one trip or I'd risk the wrath of the manager. They threatened to report me for insubordination if I didn't comply with their absurd demand." Each employee shared stories that revealed a consistent thread: the culture of entitlement from certain guests was wearing them down. They all respected the hospitality business's motto, "The customer is always right," yet they'd reached a breaking point. Just then, the door creaked open. Gasps filled the room when the employees realized who was standing there. All eyes locked onto Keanu Reeves, legendary actor, philanthropist, and, as of last week, their new boss. Harvey froze, suspecting he might be reprimanded for airing grievances so openly. Yet, Keanu's eyes weren't filled with anger or disapproval. If anything, they shimmered with empathy. "I couldn't help overhearing," he began, stepping fully into the lounge. He cleared his throat, took a moment to gather his thoughts, and then continued in a gentle but firm tone. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but please know your concerns are valid. My name is Keanu Reeves, and I'm the new owner of the Grand Meridian Hotel." The employees exchanged nervous glances. Here was a moment they could have only dreamed of, having the ear of the hotel's ultimate authority. Keanu took a slow breath, ensuring every syllable carried weight. "From this point on, in my establishment, everyone, staff and guests alike, will be treated with respect. If you've been disrespected or threatened, I want to know about it." In that instant, a hush fell over the room. Relief and gratitude swept across the employees' faces. For so long, they felt their complaints fell on deaf ears. Now, they had someone not just listening, but actively vowing to protect them. No sooner had Keanu reassured the staff than his phone vibrated in his jacket pocket. He pulled it out, expecting a message from one of his assistants or possibly a routine update. Instead, he found an anonymous email. The subject line read, "Reverse your decision, or else." A chill ran down his spine as he read. "Mr. Reeves, meddling with established practices is unwise. Revert this respect policy immediately, or certain unsavory details from your past will be revealed to the media. Consider this your only warning." The color drained slightly from Keanu's face. Whoever sent this was clearly trying to scare him. He glanced around the lounge, then quickly slipped out into the corridor to process the email. Memories of personal struggles and old regrets flickered through his mind like a haunting movie reel. The sender's identity was unknown, but the message was crystal clear: any attempt to champion fairness at the Grand Meridian would come with a price. Keanu knew the stakes. Running a high-profile hotel isn't just about plush interiors and first-class service, it's also about navigating powerful interests, some of which prefer the status quo. Yet, backing down was never an option he seriously entertained. If anything, this threat only solidified his resolve. He paced the corridor, eyes narrowed in thought. What exactly could "unsavory details" mean? Could it be referring to rumors from decades ago? Or maybe a personal matter that tabloids could twist? No matter the specifics, he decided that his moral compass could not be bent by intimidation. Minutes later, he slipped his phone back into his pocket and returned to the lounge, where employees were still abuzz with a mix of excitement and uncertainty. He didn't mention the threat, the timing wasn't right. But inside, his determination had intensified tenfold. By dawn, word had spread among management that Keanu planned to make an important announcement. At precisely 8 a.m., department heads, supervisors, and a few veteran employees gathered in the hotel's opulent conference room. A massive crystal chandelier dangled overhead, scattering rays of morning sunlight across the polished table. Everyone fell silent when Keanu walked in. Clearing his throat, he began. "I've heard concerns directly from our staff. Effective immediately, we will implement a zero-tolerance policy for any form of disrespect or discrimination within these walls. The Grand Meridian is a place of hospitality, not hostility. Any guest who crosses the line, whether through verbal abuse, harassment, or blatant disrespect toward our team, will face immediate consequences. This includes potential removal from the premises and a permanent ban if necessary." A few managers exchanged alarmed glances. Such a policy was uncharted territory in their hospitality world. Traditionally, hotels bent over backward for guests, no matter how extreme their behavior. Marisol, the director of guest relations, raised her hand. Sir, are we prepared for potential backlash? Especially from high-profile clients who are used to getting what they want. Keanu gave a firm nod. We are. Our brand will stand for something more than just luxury. It will stand for decency and respect. People deserve to work in a safe and honorable environment. I won't compromise on that. Although some in the room worried about losing wealthy patrons or stirring controversy, most felt a spark of hope they'd never experienced. Harvey, who had also been invited to the meeting, felt his heart swell with gratitude. No owner had ever publicly prioritized the dignity of staff before. This was a new era for the Grand Meridian. Just as the hotel's daily operations resumed under this new policy, the atmosphere changed. Guests who had a history of mistreating staff were promptly warned. Surprisingly, many of them adjusted their behavior. They realized the Grand Meridian wouldn't tolerate bullying or haughty demands, no matter their social status. However, not everyone adapted so smoothly. A particularly influential couple, Mr. and Mrs. Rockford, arrived one afternoon, notorious for their pickiness and condescension. Rumor had it they had humiliated staff before at other five-star hotels, leaving a trail of complaints wherever they went. Within minutes of their check-in, the Rockfords were at the front desk, complaining that the fresh flowers in their suite weren't to their liking. "These flowers are wilting," snapped Mrs. Rockford, her voice cold. "Do you expect us to breathe in stale air?" Elena, the receptionist, kept her composure. "Ma'am, I apologize if the arrangement isn't satisfactory. I'll have housekeeping replace them right away." Before Elena could finish, Mr. Rockford slammed his palm on the counter. "Not good enough. We pay top dollar and expect immediate results. If you people can't do your jobs, we'll speak to someone." "Who can?" From a few steps away, Harvey observed the entire scene, weighing how to intervene. Before the zero-tolerance policy, they'd have tried to placate the Rockfords at any cost. But now, with Keanu's backing, Harvey decided to stand firm. He approached, offering a polite but resolute tone. "Mr. and Mrs. Rockford, we understand your concerns. However, we have a policy here regarding respectful communication. Our staff is more than willing to correct any issue, but I must ask you to treat them courteously." Taken aback, Mrs. Rockford curled her lip in disdain. "How dare you lecture us about courtesy? We're the customers." She turned to Elena again, her voice even sharper. "You think you can talk to us this way and keep your job? I'll have your position by morning." Harvey calmly gestured to a newly printed sign placed discreetly at the reception desk, a policy statement outlining that abusive behavior toward employees would not be tolerated. For a moment, it seemed the couple might continue their tirade. But the presence of onlooking guests made them realize their fit of anger wouldn't end well. With a dismissive huff, they headed to the elevator, muttering criticisms under their breath. While staff morale soared because of the new policy, the ominous threat against Keanu still lingered. Every so often, an anonymous email would appear in his inbox, each more menacing than the last. "Mr. Reeves, you've been warned. Stop meddling in matters beyond your control. Your secrets won't remain hidden for long. Time is running out." Keanu shared the emails only with his closest confidant at the hotel, Lillian, the director of security. Together, they tried to trace the source, but the sender covered their tracks well. Some messages originated from foreign servers, others from untraceable VPNs. Lillian, a no-nonsense former detective, took the threat seriously, hiring a cybersecurity consultant to unmask the culprit. Privately, she asked Keanu the question that hovered in both their minds: is there anything in your past that someone could leverage? He thought for a moment, memories swirling, personal tragedies, fleeting mistakes, painful family matters. Nothing stood out as a catastrophic scandal. Regardless, he told Lillian, no matter what they dredge up, I won't abandon our mission. I'd rather face the storm head-on than bow to blackmail. Days turned into weeks, and word of the Grand Meridian's zero-tolerance policy spread throughout Metro City. Some wealthy patrons were initially skeptical, but many applauded the move once they experienced the warm, stress-free atmosphere. Staff members walked with a renewed sense of pride, no longer dreading the next potential confrontation. A few viral social media posts highlighted the hotel's approach. One showed a guest apologizing to a housekeeper after accidentally causing a spill. "Never seen a staff so respected," the caption read. "Kudos to the Grand Meridian." These stories garnered praise from everyday people who appreciated businesses that put employees' dignity on par with customer satisfaction. Meanwhile, Harvey and Elena noticed a growing camaraderie among the team. Where once they'd share anxious glances anticipating verbal assaults, they now encouraged each other, stepping up to help the next coworker. The staff lounge, previously a place to vent frustrations, became a sanctuary of hope and mutual support. Late one evening, with the moon shining brightly over Metro City's skyline, Keanu sat alone in his private office. The day had been smooth, no major incidents, guests seemed content, and staff morale was at an all-time high. Yet he couldn't shake a nagging feeling that the storm was not yet over. Just as he pondered the possibility that the threats might be empty, another email flashed onto his screen. This time, it contained more than a warning. It attached a scanned document from Keanu's early career, an old financial agreement that, if misrepresented, could paint him in a questionable light. But the real kicker was the message. "You ignored our warnings. Prepare to face the consequences in the court of public opinion. Unless, of course, you choose to recant this zero-tolerance policy immediately." Keanu leaned back in his chair, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. He'd been transparent about most aspects of his life, but old documents can be twisted or taken out of context. He toyed with the idea, could caving in really save the hotel from scandal? But each time, the answer rang clear, it would mean abandoning the principles he'd fought to uphold. He closed his laptop, a newfound clarity gripping him. Some might bow to threats, but he wouldn't. He grabbed his phone, tapped Lillian's contact, and forwarded the email. "We're in this now," he told her. "Let's see it through." Morning broke with a swirl of headlines. A tabloid site released Keanu's old financial document, framing it as some sinister contract. Rumors flew, from claiming he laundered money to insinuating ties to unsavory figures. None of these allegations had any real merit. Anyone with a basic understanding of business would see it was a routine contractual detail. Still, sensational headlines sell, and the story spread like wildfire. Within hours, reporters camped outside the Grand Meridian, peppering arriving guests with intrusive questions. Some guests rescheduled their stays to avoid the media frenzy. The staff braced themselves for impact. But something remarkable happened. As multiple mainstream outlets dug deeper into the claims, they quickly debunked the scandal. They interviewed former colleagues and business partners of Keanu who vouched for his integrity. Public opinion began to swing in his favor, celebrating him for not folding to intimidation. A wave of support poured in on social media, praising the Grand Meridian's stance on respect. Staff members posted heartfelt messages about the difference the policy had made in their lives. One bellhop wrote, "Working without fear is something I never knew was possible in this industry. Thank you, Mr. Reeves." Back in the office, Keanu watched coverage of the scandal unravel. Instead of harming the hotel's reputation, the negative publicity had backfired on the anonymous blackmailer. If anything, the Grand Meridian's moral stance became headline news, painting Keanu as a champion for workers' rights. Even as the scandal fizzled, Lillian continued her investigation. After painstaking digital forensics work, she discovered a small group of powerful individuals with vested interests in maintaining the old hotel culture. They believed that indulging elite clients without question was essential to keep profit margins sky high. One of these parties had orchestrated the blackmail attempt, hoping to scare Keanu back into the traditional model of endless appeasement. Lillian's team handed over the findings to local authorities, who launched a formal inquiry. The conspirators tried to distance themselves, but their digital footprints betrayed them. Eventually, an arrest was made, and a quiet hush fell over the entire ordeal. Keanu breathed a deep sigh of relief. The threat was resolved, staff felt protected, and the Grand Meridian stood as a testament that moral conviction could topple intimidation. The victory tasted even sweeter because it was won not through cunning or compromise, but through steadfast dedication to doing the right thing. With the crisis behind them, the staff at the Grand Meridian found renewed energy to refine and elevate the guest experience. Now, the environment resonated not just with elegance but genuine warmth and mutual respect. Harvey took pride in training new hires on the importance of empathy, both for guests and themselves. Elena regularly wrote personal thank you notes to visitors, acknowledging how their respect contributed to a welcoming atmosphere. Jonas felt bolder, chatting up guests about local art galleries and community events. Free from the shadow of intimidation, his natural friendliness shone through. And the famous couple, the Rockfords, didn't escape their own lesson. After their ungracious behavior went viral on social media, they found themselves on the receiving end of widespread criticism. Embarrassed, they posted a lukewarm apology online. When they next visited the Grand Meridian, hoping to prove they'd changed, they experienced a firm but courteous reception. Over time, they actually mellowed out, showing that even the haughtiest among us might reform when confronted with unwavering boundaries. In an industry long dominated by the adage that the customer is always right, Keanu's approach was revolutionary. He showed that in the pursuit of genuine hospitality, dignity matters for both the staff who serve and the guests who visit. True leadership isn't about never facing threats or challenges, it's about forging ahead despite them. Keanu stared down intimidation and potential scandal to uphold a principle that all too often gets sidelined: every human being deserves respect. And perhaps that's the core lesson: when you stand unwaveringly for your values, you can reshape not just a business culture but also the broader societal narrative. The Grand Meridian became more than just a luxury hotel in Metro City, it grew into a beacon of fairness, an emblem that profits need not come at the cost of human dignity. Like all powerful stories, this one ends on a note of hope and triumph. Keanu's midnight resolve catalyzed a transformation that went far beyond decorative flowers and velvet carpets. He helped break a toxic pattern of entitlement, proving that respect, when enforced by leadership, can spark real, meaningful change. So, what can you take away from this story? Perhaps it's a reminder to stand firm in your convictions, even when pressured by powerful forces. Or maybe it's a call to treat everyone, from waiters to CEOs, as equally deserving of basic courtesy. Small acts of compassion and fairness can ripple outward in ways you can't even imagine. If this story touched your heart, made you think differently, or simply gave you a new perspective, we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts. Have you ever faced a situation where you had to stand up for what's right, despite the risks? And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay connected with motivation for success. We bring you real stories that challenge the status quo, uplift your spirit, and remind us all of the power of unity, respect, and unwavering courage. Thank you for watching, and remember, standing up for your principles can be the spark that lights a fire in others, creating a collective movement for change. Stay strong, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next video.